especially from students that read their essays. Appreciate that. And a big thanks to the city of Wilder for allowing us to use this facility. Richard, you want to read our minute? We go through a short little business meeting, and then we'll get started reading all the essays.
In August, we met at the Bellevue Eagles beautiful facility down along the Ohio River. Steve welcomed everyone at 7:01. I read the donations report and the minutes from the previous meeting. Glenn read the treasury report that showed an ending balance of $3,929.07. Jan Lester reported on membership. We had 310 members at the time, but are always looking for more, of course. She reported that the newsletter would come out at the end of August, and also mentioned our website and agenda. Steve reported that on the essay contest, Charlene was asked, so Steve reported we had been asking for entries for students from grades 6 to 12, and we do it every year. It's one of our favorite projects. Veterans had added 166 more the previous month, so at the time the total was approaching 16,000 in our records. We have book reprints available, such as the pieces of the past volumes 1 and 2, which just came out a few months ago. They're still available at the office. And also, we just recently reprinted the 1883 Atlas and Charlene's I Am a Free Man book. The crazy quilt we received, we had a meeting and had scheduled to meet with the conservationists again to figure out how to preserve that beautiful quilt. And Steve mentioned that the Bobby Mackey's auction was starting within a couple of days. He turned the meeting over to the Eagles, to Grant from the Eagles for a presentation, and then afterwards mentioned that the Christmas tree fundraiser has started again, and mentioned our meetings for the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Richard, while you're up here, you want to do gifts and donations at the same time? Sorry.
Only donation we received the last few weeks was somebody dropped off a small cedar box with a couple of small Bibles in it. They just left it on our doorstep, basically with no name on it. That's the only donations this month, but if you have anything, we're always accepting items, whatever. Thank you.
We opened the month with $3,929. Had 3 renewals for memberships. Signed up a new lifetime member. Got $250 in donations for the essay contest. Sold $255 on publications. Kroger Community Rewards gave us $101. And Christmas tree fundraiser so far has raised $1,360 for a net income of $2,191.54. We bought paper for the newsletter, and then we bought display items from Bobby Mackey's auction for $315. Paid the copier $116 lease fee, and our net expenses were $627.93, and our ending balance $5,492.68.
There were 88 veterans added to our collection for the month of August, bringing the total to 16,044. 10 of them came from the Alexandria Cemetery, and 6 of them came from the Asbury Cemetery. And I don't have any jokes this time, so just on your own.
It was a kind of a handmade sign that they had made, but it says Bobby Mackey on the air, which I thought was kind of cool. And then we got one of the t-shirts. They had vintage t-shirts that they had framed, and I got one of those that says I rode the bull at Bobby Mackey. Whether you like Bobby Mackey's or not, it was iconic in this community. It was. Whether you're a country music fan or not, it doesn't matter. Bobby was, you know, he's just been around forever and ever, so we felt it was important to have some of this stuff in our collection. On all the tables I put some of the Christmas tree fundraisers. That is starting to heat up a lot. I think we had, what do we have, Richard? 8 from Alexandria and 6, I think.
There were 17 total.
7, okay. So we had, it was about half and half. We had some from Alexandria and some from Wilder, because this year we've added Wilder for our Christmas tree fundraiser. And just today, we got, what did I tell you, Sharon, 2 more today? Okay, so they're starting to come in pretty hot and heavy now. Oh, Richard is doing a speaking engagement at the Erlanger branch of the Kenton County Library on October 1st. And it will be on, tell me again, Union. He can tell you better than I can.
Yeah, it'd basically be a slideshow of pictures of Union Civil War soldiers from Campbell County. When I've been researching the last couple of years, I've surprised myself by finding pictures of some of these men, so it'll be just a quick slideshow, a little brief biography of some of these that I found.
Okay, that's October 1st.
October 1st, 7 o'clock, Charlotte Bronte Home in Erlanger.
Very good. It's kind of neat, I got a call from a woman in Washington, state of Washington, by the name of Nancy Hatfield. She's part of the Yelton/Gosney family, and she and her husband are coming to town in October, mid-October, but she has a powder horn that has, one of the Yelton families made this in 1812. And she's going to bring it in October and donate it to us. Ken has been nominated and won. And he's a graduate of Thomas More University. And what are they calling this? The Community Service Award. They select alumni in different categories through the year. And his niece is not here, but she works at Thomas More. She called me and said, I can't really nominate him, so can you? So I did, and they picked him. So congratulations to Ken. Had another interesting thing. We're kind of enhancing our relationship with Northern Kentucky University, and there's one of the professors up there that I've been speaking with, Becky Bailey, and she sent me an email about this woman who is over at WVU, of West Virginia University, but she's like on loan from the University of Pittsburgh. And I talked to her. She is the founder, one of the founders, and I always say this wrong, of the Italian Diaspora Archive Research Map. These guys are trying to find where Italians have gone when they left Italy. Where did they go? Now, right now, they're focusing on Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, and West Virginia. But their goal is to expand that worldwide eventually. That we'll probably all be dead and gone except you young guys by the time that happens. But then they want to map where all these people went when they left Italy. So they're not at Northern Kentucky yet. Oh, did they? Okay. They'll be very interested in knowing that because they're trying to find anybody that has any kind of a collection of anything Italian so that they can add it to this. It will be housed at the Heinz Center at the University of Pittsburgh and then made available to everybody worldwide to access that. So I was real excited because my father's family was all in Eastern Ohio, and that's one of the areas that they're doing now. So I told her, I said, we want to be a part of that group. When you get to Northern Kentucky, let me know because there's a big pocket of Italians in this area and we can get you information. So she was all excited by that. A reminder, September 25th is the senior picnic at Pendry Park. Always a good time, always fun, good lunch. Okay, I think it's like $10 to do it or something, but it's a good time. They have bingo, they have music, they have all sorts of things. And it's a bunch of old people telling lies and telling stories, okay? Okay, so Anybody else have anything tonight? Okay, then you're all here for our young people. And as soon as I find my piece of paper, you know, I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. These kids, I think, don't get enough credit sometimes. They've worked so hard at these essays. They do the research, and they write, and scratch out, and rewrite, and I'm always thrilled to hear them read these essays. This is a good exercise for them to be able to speak to a group of people. That's something you should get used to over time and become very, very comfortable with doing that. So tonight, our first winner to speak to us is Josephine.
Ivan's a hero, Ivan's a hero. This was the chant heard by my great-grandpa on the playground at Lincoln Elementary in Dayton, Kentucky after he prevented a tragedy. That story was shared by his friend Bill during one of my great-grandpa's stays in the hospital due to illness. It was the year 1918 when he flagged down a passenger train averting disaster. The newspaper article labeled him a young hero, but he had not acted for the publicity. He had acted with his determination to help others. He was born during the time known as the Greatest Generation, where they faced and overcame adversity, according to Investopedia. He not only had an impact on his time, but future generations to come. Lawrence Ivan Doring was born in his home on July 11, 1907, in Dayton, Kentucky. He grew up in a small two-story house on Main Street near 6. His parents were Francis and Mary Doring. He had a younger sister named Maureen Doring. My grandma, Joan Guyman, described him as a humble and kind-hearted person, even from early on. Ivan grew up in a Catholic family and was strong in his faith. He rarely got in trouble and helped around the house when he could by taking up his sister's chores or doing extra work with his father. At around the age of 24, he met Mary Ellen Davis, and a few short years later they got married on September 12, 1936, in Hamilton, Ohio. Together they had 5 sons and 1 daughter. The 1 daughter they had is my maternal grandma, Joan. In the early 1900s, trains reached their peak in America, being used for numerous reasons. Most commonly at the time, trains were used for transporting goods and people. Having a car back then was costly, and because of that, trains played a big part for traveling places. According to the Kentucky Times-Star, a freight train had crashed when 2 distilling boilers had unfastened, destroying the cart they were on. Ivan, at the age of 10, had known the westbound passenger train would soon be arriving. He quickly went up the track and gestured his hat to the engineer, stopping the train around 80 feet before it reached the accident. The newspaper article stated he then ran home, not taking into consideration the heroic deed he had done. The company of the train he had stopped was called Chesapeake in Ohio. The Class 1 railroad was established in 1869. In 1972, while Cyrus Eaton was in charge, C&O joined with the Chessie system. Then, in the 1980s, the railroad joined with a combination of Louisville and Nashville and the seaboard coastline. These railroads, along with a few others, made up an essential part of CSX transportation. Ivan did not stay in school for long after the incident. Instead, he went and worked. The places he worked were odd-end jobs. One job that he worked as he grew older was called an iceman. His part was to gather, sell, and deliver ice. His bravery continued throughout his life as he became an amateur boxer for a side hobby. He got the nickname the Boxing Iceman from his previous job. Ironically, years later, he would come to work for Chesapeake in Ohio as a carman, whose main task was to build, inspect, and repair railway freight cars. Younger people in that time frame were more mature because of varying factors. From the effects of World War I and the economic recession, the people then had more responsibilities and looked out for one another. The better social awareness that people had, like Ivan, contributed to the results of our community today. In this day and age, if put in that situation, many youth may not make the connections. Instead of being connected to people, we are more connected to technology. Ivan potentially did save lives that day, but to get a bigger picture of the effect he started is the values he passed along from generation to generation. The morals my family still have today stem from him and his generation. For instance, my faith was taught and brought down to all of my family members. Another thing is our love for our neighbors and the small deeds we continue to do to show consideration and care. It was a great responsibility to realize what had to be done and have the bravery to do it. Ivan was a hero because he went out of his way to help his community. His actions and morals impacted people all around Campbell County, and they still do today. Ivan and the many people of his generation are those who helped establish the roots of our great-grandparents, grandparents, and the parents who are the backbone of our Campbell County community today.
Very good. Okay, I don't know how, I think most of you know Martha Pelfrey. Martha was one of the originators of this 16 years, actually 17 years ago. We're in our 17th year now. And so Martha has come around and she is going to present their certificates and their cash awards and everything to all the students. So, Martha, you get out of the way here.
That greatest generation. And you know, I think it's carried forward. We can see it all around us, so.
So true. Very good.
And this was great to have somebody. That's in your line, that's in your history. So enjoy it, play to it.
We had, very fortunate, two sisters that are winners this year, okay? And your sister, so Sabrina is not here this evening, so Christina is you're gonna get to see her twice, okay? She is gonna read Sabrina's and hers, and, no, first you're gonna read Sabrina's. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, the title of her essay was A Local Hero. Family is defined as all descendants of a common ancestor. However, to me, family is the people who love you unconditionally, whether or not you are related. I'm lucky to have both types. Larry Atwell and Wilma Atwell are my grandparents, even though we are not related by blood. They're important family members and are the reason I live here in Campbell County today. My grandpa Larry was born on January 5th, 1941 in Louisville, Kentucky. He grew up in Louisville and had one brother and one sister. After graduating from high school, he wanted to join the Navy. However, Larry's friend told him that the local fire department was hiring and that he should apply. Larry listened to his advice and joined the fire department in 1959 when he was only 18 years old. Larry served as a Louisville Fire Department for 28 years and retired as chief in 1986. After retiring from the Louisville Fire Department, Larry did not take a break. He was then hired by the Newport Fire Department as fire chief the same year. He served as the Newport Fire Department for 19 years before retiring on March 1st, 2006. During his service, Larry made numerous positive changes in the fire department community in our area. Under his leadership, the Newport Fire Department replaced aging equipment with new apparatus, including the 121-foot Grumman aerial cat ladder truck, the tallest ladder in the state of Kentucky. They also hosted their first paramedic program and purchased additional apparatus, including 2 ambulances. In addition, Larry instituted one of the largest recruit classes in the department history. He fought to add advanced life support and ambulances with additional paramedics. In the late 1990s, the city of Newport experienced exponential growth. The Newport Aquarium opened in 1999, and the Newport on the Levee was made available to the public in 2001. The fire department had to keep up with the area's growth and expanded services. As the city of Newport grew, the fire department responses increased. Larry led many efforts to offer new and improved services to the community. He put service to the people in our area at the highest importance. Under Larry's supervision and guidance, a new fire headquarters was built at 999 Monmouth Street, connecting the fire department to the newly built city building and police headquarters. One of Larry's significant accomplishments was the introduction of advanced life support services in the city of Newport in July 1998. Advanced life support is a set of life-saving protocols and skills that extend beyond basic life support. It is used to provide urgent treatment for life-threatening emergencies such as cardiac arrest, stroke, and other conditions. With the ALS program, paramedics carried information on essential medications and had extensive knowledge of various prescriptions. To get ALS certification, emergency medical technicians, EMTs, had to go through rigorous courses and complete between 1,200 and 1,800 hours of training. Offering ALS services was a game changer for our community. The service meant that paramedics could provide extensive life support on scene without having to wait for a hospital emergency personnel to arrive. Once ALS services were introduced in Newport, the rest of northern Kentucky followed. The service has saved and will continue to save numerous lives of people in our community. One of the lives saved was Larry's. In November 2004, Larry collapsed at the firehouse from a heart attack that stopped his heart. His own paramedics brought him back to life. Larry literally owed his life to the expertise of the firefighters and paramedics that he had led and mentored for over 46 years. And Larry wouldn't have had it any other way. In his interview conducted by the Kentucky Post, he said, "This work is my life. Other than my family, it's what I do." Another one of Larry's significant accomplishments that made a huge impact on our community was the introduction of the Incident Command System, ICS, in Northern Kentucky in 2000. ICS is a standardized incident management system that allows emergency responders to organize incidents based on the national standards. It ensures that if there is an incident where different jurisdictions and agencies are involved, everyone uses the same terminology, tactics, and direction when responding to the incident. This allows different agencies from different jurisdictions to communicate effectively and work towards objectives using the same strategies, ensuring that everyone is on the same page. 9/11 is one of the examples when the system was used in response to a massive incident. A local example is when energy crews, emergency workers, and volunteers worked together during a big gas line break that affected most of the city in Newport. Larry went to the National Fire Academic or ICS training and completed the Train the Trainer course. Once he received the certification, upon his return, he offered training to agencies in Northern Kentucky. Besides these contributions, Larry also introduced a life safety program in Newport. In addition to regular fire inspections twice a year, the fire department inspected local businesses when they had crowded events. Fire inspectors physically visited these businesses during the events when there were a lot of people there and checked that all fire codes were followed and that there were no violations. This ensured that people could get out safely in case of a fire. The fire department also checked multifamily dwellings. In addition to introducing many new services that saved countless lives, Larry was also active in a professional firefighter organizations locally and nationwide. During his service in Newport, he served as the president of Campbell County Firefighters Association. He was also a member of the National Association of Firefighters and as an instructor at the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland. In addition, he taught classes in the Kentucky Community Technical College system. Larry also gave back to the community in other areas besides fire service. He volunteered in the community, helping with various causes. He was involved in home repairs for low-income residents through people working cooperatively and served on the board of nearby Boys and Girls Club. Larry loved history and was passionate about the history of the Newport Fire Department and the city. He had pictures of historical significance framed and posted all through the fire department. He also tried to document the events that occurred during his time of service. He would take pictures of firefighters at his department and post them as well. In addition to his contributions and improvements in fire service and safety in Newport and neighboring areas, Larry also impacted architectural developments in our area. In 1999, the old fire headquarters was demolished to create a site for the World Peace Bell and Millennium Monument. The fire department provided support to the agencies and vendors working on the construction. The bell symbolizes freedom and peace. It features an inscription commemorating the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and engraving stating important events in the last 1,000 years. Larry was one of the people who rang the bell at the 1999 New Year celebration and dedication ceremony. Larry believed it was important to honor his colleagues and fallen heroes. Under Larry's leadership, the Northern Kentucky Firefighters Memorial was built near the World Peace Bell. It is a statue of a firefighter carrying a child and walking 2 other children to safety. This memorial is dedicated to the brave men of the various Northern Kentucky fire departments, 39 departments in 4 counties, who have lost their lives in service of their communities. Inscribed on its base are the names of the Northern Kentucky fallen firefighters. This project was extremely important to Larry, and he was excited when it came into fruition. The firefighter in the memorial is based on Larry, and the girl next to him is Larry's granddaughter, Rachel. The memorial was dedicated on August 10, 2003. In 2005, Larry suffered a series of medical issues that put him in a wheelchair. He spent a lot of time in hospitals, but that did not stop Larry from doing what he loved. He continued to work while getting medical care. He held meetings in his hospital room and continued to run the department. Larry bravely fought his medical problems, but lost the battle on March 2, 2008. Upon Larry's passing, the Newport Fire Department, with the help of other districts, honored Larry by adding a memorial dedicated to him. It is located next to the Northern Kentucky Firefighters Memorial. It is a symbol of appreciation for Larry's 48 years of commitment and contributions to the people of the Commonwealth. The memorial was dedicated on September 13, 2008. During the dedication, Larry's service was recognized along with the service of the fallen firefighters of September 11, 2001. Larry was very well respected not only in the Newport Fire Department, but also in other districts beyond Campbell County. Moreover, he had good relationships with local governments in neighboring cities like Bellevue, Covington, and more. The city of Newport and other cities contributed to Larry's memorial by holding a silent auction to raise money to help pay for it. In addition to the memorial, honoring Larry and his dedicated service to the community, the Northern Kentucky Firefighters Association established the Larry B. Atwell Life Achievement Award. This award is given to individuals who follow Larry's example and make significant contributions to the fire service, making positive changes to our community and improving the quality of life for its people. Larry was not only a dedicated servant to our community, but also a great family man. He married Wilma Hooker of Louisville in 1962. They were married for 46 years before Larry passed away in 2008. They have daughters, Dawn and Marianne, and granddaughters, Rachel and Maddie. Larry and Wilma were very kind people. They always helped a neighbor or a friend in need. For example, they bought prom dresses for their children's friends when their friends' parents couldn't afford them. They offered food to their neighbors who were unable to provide enough for themselves and their families. They even let a struggling family stay with them until they got back on their feet. They had big hearts and were happy to help anyone in need. Larry and Wilma's kindness even reached my mom all the way in Kharkiv, Ukraine. In May of 1995, Larry was invited to be a part of the professional exchange delegation from Northern Kentucky to Kharkiv, Ukraine. In this group, there were about 30 people from different professions who went to Ukraine and stayed with the Ukrainian family that had some in the same line of work. Larry was assigned to a firefighter family who were friends with my mother's family. My grandfather on my mom's side was a firefighter for 33 years in Ukraine, and most of their friends were firefighters. My mom stayed with Larry's host family as a translator. During Larry's trip to Ukraine, he visited numerous colleagues in the fire service, met with representatives of other government agencies, and exchanged important information about their work. This trip was very enriching, professionally and personally. Larry enjoyed talking to his colleagues about equipment, safety, education, and other aspects of their profession. However, this trip was not just for work. Larry had a lot of fun experiencing the culture, talking to new people, and trying various foods, and attempting to understand the language. My mom has shared several fun stories about Larry's trip to Ukraine. One day, my mom's family had dinner for Larry and invited many of their friends. There was a lot of good food, interesting conversations, and laughter. There was even dancing. Larry hesitantly gave in and danced with all of his Ukrainian friends. Another memorable experience for Larry was with food. After his trip, he quite often talked about many foods he liked, but also some of the foods he would not even touch, including sallow, cured slabs of pork fat. He always laughed when he brought it up. Larry very much enjoyed this trip and always said that a part of his heart was still in Ukraine. He wanted to help people he met in Ukraine, and my mom was one of them. When he returned home, he talked to his family and decided to invite my mom to live with them. Larry and Wilma even offered to pay for my mother's education because my mom's family could not afford it. My mom lived with Larry and Wilma for 3 years while getting her education at NKU. From the very beginning, they treated her as if she was their own daughter. Even though they did not adopt my mother, she was always a part of the family. Their kindness turned out to be life-changing for me and my entire family. Because of Larry's kindness, I was blessed to be able to be born and raised in America. My family and I will always be grateful for everything Larry has done for us. We were not only the ones who appreciated Larry for his dedication, commitment, and kindness. Many people in Campbell County and the Commonwealth have been grateful to his such hard-working public servant in our state. Larry has received many awards for all of his work and commitment, including the Chief Officer Award from the Northern Kentucky Firefighters Association, the St. Luke Hospital Service Award, the Kentucky Emergency Response Commission United We Stand Award, the Campbell County Firefighters Education Association Award of Recognition, and the Chief Fire Officer designation. After 19 years of service at the Newport Fire Department and 48 years of total service in the state of Kentucky, Larry retired on March 1st, 2006. At this retirement, he was recognized for his remarkable service to our Commonwealth and received numerous awards. He received an award for his 19 years of service, a recognition from the acting state fire marshal, an award of the appreciation from the Red Cross Cincinnati area chapter, a service award from the Northern Kentucky Firefighters Association, and a service and commitment award from the Campbell County Consolidated Dispatcher Center Board. On February 27, 2006, the mayor of Covington, Butch Cowlery, issued a proclamation to establish a Fire Chief Larry Atwell Day in Covington on February 27th. The proclamation stated, quote, "The city of Covington and the Covington Fire Department is honored to recognize upon his retirement one of Northern Kentucky's most dedicated and esteemed fire service leaders, Newport Fire Chief Larry B. Atwell," unquote. Also, the Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Ernie Fletcher, paid tribute to Larry for his dedicated service. Larry faithfully served as fire chief for the city of Newport for 19 years and brought great pride and professionalism to his department. He gave 48 years of public service to our state as a professional in the fire service, creating a legacy of commitment, innovation, and knowledge. During his career, he gained recognition as a true fire service leader, receiving accolades from national, state, and local fire and emergency service organizations. As fire chief, Larry demonstrated outstanding communication skills and was selected as a committee member on numerous state and local committees for the fire service. He consistently showed patience and understanding to citizens, making every effort to assist them. Many people of the Commonwealth owe their very lives to Larry's hard work, dedication, and leadership. Larry has touched so many people, including my family. We are very grateful for Larry and his kindness. He changed mine and my family's lives for the better. In fact, he has made many contributions that changed numerous lives. He has influenced Campbell County greatly and will continue to do so as his legacy lives on.
I watched Mom through this whole thing, and I saw the pride, and I saw her emotions as she read through each of the different parts of Larry's life. I saw Mom's emotion go from laughing to smiling to crying. So this was really close and personal to their family. Very, very nice. You can come on up here too. Well, because this is for her sister.
Well, I'll present that to you, of your sister. This is for Sabrina. And you know, all it takes is one person, and it just rolls on, and now we're into another generation with it. So it pays to be good.
Very good. Thank you very much for reading it, and thank you.
In the instructions given for this paper, writers were discouraged from covering overly used topics. While I understand the Historical Society's reasoning for this guidance, I find that for me, this approach may not suffice. Campbell County history is not just the history of a place, but of a people. It is the history of my family, the history of me. With that, I must write about an event that changed my family, an event that arguably changed my life, despite me not being born yet. This occurrence changed my dad's life. Through theories following the butterfly effect and the circle of life mindset,
which means it instantaneously changed mine. Bob Bosley was my dad's best friend, and it would be a disservice to both to write about anything else. Bob Bosley, Bobby, was what most people would consider to be a stand-up guy, a good man. He was known as a kind-hearted and compassionate person. After his untimely death, many recalled times in which he lent money to friends or employees in need. He was the kind of person who put everyone around him before himself, and he was always the last to be taken care of. He and my father were the best of friends. They had met through work and got along well. They realized they shared many values and similar mindsets. In good faith, Bosley invited him to Lake Cumberland for a weekend, and they became very close after that. They continued to do business together, and my dad joined him at the lake whenever he was able. Bob saved many photos of the lavish parties he threw, and some, but not all, did contain women dressed inappropriately, which was later a point of investigation in his murder case. However, his wife was present and were aware of all of it. None of it was done behind her back, and she was often there partying with him. It's rumored that both of them were unfaithful. And if she were not there herself, she would know anyway. All of the pictures that he kept were taken on disposable cameras, and Amy herself was the one to have them developed and printed, not Bob. This is one of the many illusions Amy hoped would be painted. The Bosleys' marriage seemed to be stable from the outside looking in. They lived a luxurious life, and both seemed content with what they had. Upon my grandparents' house being destroyed in a house fire, my father actually moved in with Bob and Amy for roughly 6 months. There was nothing obviously wrong at this time, and he enjoyed the time spent with them. Later, my dad rented Bosley's log cabin and lived there, before the family themselves ultimately moved there. This is one of many business exchanges between Bobby and my dad. They were the kind of friends that would help each other out. If you need something, I'll cover you. I know you do the same. Bob's death was not a kind one. He was shot during his sleep multiple times with a handgun, and it appeared to be a burglary gone wrong. A glass panel in the back door had been broken, and the house looked to have been ransacked. This cabin was the same one my dad had lived in before, and it was now the scene of a violent murder. Amy Bosley called emergency dispatch, crying and claiming someone was in the house and shot her husband. She played the part well, so well in fact, that she was one of the first suspects to be completely ruled out. No one suspected her. News articles from that week reported of a burglary, and no one was speculating it to be a gory crime of passion. Amy even went as far as to blame my dad. She told cops that Noah owed Bob money, and they had been in an argument in the days leading up to the murder. Of course, this was not the whole story. An Alexandria favorite of the time was no other than Spare Time Grill. It was at this restaurant that my dad and Bob sat down to talk things out. Bob had been angry with my dad. Amy was claiming that my dad, Noah, owed him a lot of money, and the two had a large argument and slight falling out over it. Following this, my dad asked Amy for the financial records between the two, and after receiving it in the mail, realized that Amy had been wrong. My dad did not owe Bob. He called Bosley and asked him to meet him at Spare Time Grill. My dad showed him this sheet in Amy's handwriting, showing the truth and saying, "Bob, if she's got mine and your stuff this messed up, how bad do you think the rest of it is?" The two then made up, contradictory to Amy's story. Sometimes, after something happens, you realize little moments that led up to it, that at the time you brushed off. Bob's death was no different. Amy would often jokingly say, "Me and Bobby will never get divorced. One of us would end up dead first." Before my dad left their house, after the two got lunch, Bob joked that my dad shouldn't be shocked, and I quote, "if the crazy bitch shoots me." The two laughed it off, having no idea of what was to come. Soon after, Bobby called my dad, asking him to stop by the company office. He said something was wrong, but he wasn't entirely sure what. When my dad arrived, Bob told him he'd been trying to call him throughout the week, but nothing would go through. Amy had been having all of Bob's personal calls directed to her phone. In hindsight, this can be explained by Amy's intent to keep the IRS from getting a hold of Bob. They were investigating her for embezzling $1.7 million, and ultimately she murdered Bob rather than confess to him that she destroyed his business. Bosley expressed his concerns to my dad. They talked for a while. The next thing my dad heard about Bob It was the call that someone had been shot at the cabin, and just like that, he was gone. There is no great moral to this story. There's no silver lining. A good man, a good father, and a good friend left this world way too soon. I could go on and on about the historical significance of Bob's murder, how the police department reacted to such an uncommon occurrence, how the roofing company he owned fell apart, or how the people of the county banded together to grieve. I could go on and on, but no amount of lessons or facts will ever be enough. Bob Bosley wasn't perfect as no one is. He wasn't a saint to be idolized or praised. Instead, he was just human. His death, it shows the impermanence of everything around us. In 100 years, no one will remember what steps we took or what friendships we made. No one will remember what wounds we carried or the horrors we faced. All that will be left is what records survive. That is why I'm writing here today. It was not the details of Bob's death that truly mattered, but the significance of his life, the love that he gave and received. I put it on paper in hopes that his memory will live when we ourselves cannot. Bob was a truly good friend. He had a good heart and soul. He loved dearly. Yes, his death mattered, but more so his life. He was kind in a world that is not. And if that's not history, I don't know what is.
Tell you what, something like that takes a lot of courage for young people to write. That's really close to your family, and I thank you for that. That takes a whole lot of courage. And Martha to add a little something.
And well written. Very good.
Thank you so much. And I've just gotten a message, if you'll forgive me, that we have another junior level reader that just came in here. Okay, is Colton? Colton, oh, there he is, okay. This is the first time in a long time that we've had all of our essay contest winners here. This is fantastic. I love it. You ready to go?
Have you ever wondered how Henry Park got the land to build the park in Campbell County, or how the park got its name? Henry Park has been an important part of Campbell County for 26 years. There are a lot of activities to do there. You can play basketball, baseball, soccer, and more. The Campbell County Physical Court was responsible for getting the land, naming the park, and maintaining the park along with Campbell County Novel League and Northern Kentucky Soccer League, who partnered with them. Pendry Park is a 72-acre complex located in Melbourne, Kentucky. The namesake is Ed Pendry. Ed Pendry was the Campbell County Deputy Judge and Executive and County Coordinator. Originally, Mr. William J. Williams donated 28.08 acres in the stipulation that it would be used for a purpose of recreation. The county was able to purchase the neighboring land and had about 44 acres for the complex. They built this because people wanted more recreational space in Campbell County. The road is named William Lane in honor of Mr. Williams' contribution. In the first phase, there were 4 baseball fields and 4 soccer fields. Since they added 4 more baseball fields, picnic shelters, playground equipment, and a public boat ramp. Recently, they added 2 more soccer fields, a 3/4-mile walking trail, and 5 shelters with tables. According to the Campbell County, Kentucky.gov, Pendry Park has a full-size NBA basketball court for people to play on with lines. You can definitely have a lot of fun with your friends and family at Pendry Park. I think the only thing that could make Pendry Park better is if they need to have a bathhouse with running water, because it is more sanitary and more people will probably go to Pendry Park. The physical court takes care of Pendry Park. They have to take care of mowing the grass, weed eating, trash removal, and landscaping. The physical court pays for all of the costs. The physical court teamed up with the Northern Kentucky Soccer League and Campbell County Novel League. Ed Pandry was a coach for the Campbell County Novel League. The Campbell County Novel and Northern Kentucky Soccer League teamed up with the physical court to help maintain Pendry Park. It says in the Campbell County Physical Court report to the citizens, It is estimated that the agreement with the organization will save the physical court $32,480 in annual expenses. Ed Pendry said, "The physical court is excited and honored to be a part of the success that is in Pendry Park." It says on cc.hole.com, it is the lease's responsibility of Campbell County Knothole to maintain, improve, and run the baseball complex facilities. Players' parents from the Knothole are in charge of cleaning the area for trash and other stuff. Parents are not allowed to bring any type of alcohol. Parents shouldn't bring any food to the park. Coaches are also not allowed to chew tobacco during these games. If you need food, go to the concession stand to get food or drinks. All the money from the concession stand goes to underwrite costs of the park, like buying more food and drinks for the concession stand. The volunteers do not get paid for their help. They are to help out Pendry Park, and you should always thank them for their time. The development of Pendry Park is important to Campbell County because Campbell County needed more recreational space. It brought a community closer to help the county. Pendry Park also helped the Campbell County Knothole and Northern Kentucky Soccer League with providing soccer fields and baseball fields. Without Pendry Park, there would need to be a baseball and soccer game scattered all around the county. Instead, Pendry Park has 8 baseball fields and 6 soccer fields, so most of the games can be played at Pendry. This is really important to families that might have more than one child playing baseball or soccer. In my opinion, the park is one of the best parks in Campbell County because you can save a lot of gas if you live in Millward to go to Pendry Park and going to AJ Jolly. Pendry Park has a lot of purposes. My teacher, Mrs. Galwell, says that her family uses the recreation shelter for family reunions. I'm sure that a lot of families use the shelters for reunions, birthday parties, and any other party you can think of. As you can see, Pendry Park is an essential part of Campbell County because it provides fields for the Campbell County Knothole League and Northern Kentucky Soccer League to help play games, so children can have fun participating in sports programs. It took a lot of work and effort for the community to make Pendry Park what it is today. I hope you consider going to Pendry Park to have a day of fun and enjoy playing basketball, baseball, and soccer. If you are lucky enough, there might be an ice cream or kind of ice truck there so you can get an ice cold treat while you're there.
I think we have a future county commissioner there. Would you agree? Huh? And Martha, I have a little something for you.
This is well done. I learned some things. Good job. This is a certificate and check and you're welcome.
Very good.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
So my essay is called The Legacy of Luigi Lorenzo Scarella and His Descendants. Luigi Lorenzo Scarella, known as Charles Graziani, was a prominent figure born in 1806 in Oneglia, Italy, who played a significant role in both the democratic movement in Italy and the development of his community in Campbell County, Kentucky. Luigi Lorenzo Scarella, also known as Charles Graziani, was born in 1806 in Oneglia, a town nestled along the Liguria Sea in northwest Italy. Charles's life was marked by his involvement in the democratic movement during the tumultuous 1830s and 1840s in Italy, culminating in the 1848 revolution. Forced into exile, he embarked on a journey that led him to settle in Campbell County, Kentucky, where he left an indelible mark on the community. Luigi's early years were shaped by his passion for democracy and social change. He actively participated in the democratic movement sweeping across Italy during the 1830s and 1840s, advocating for political reform and societal progress. However, the revolution of 1848 proved to be a turning point in his life. As political tensions escalated, he found himself compelled to leave his homeland, joining the ranks of exiles seeking refuge abroad. After leaving Italy, he found himself in England, where he found his beautiful wife, Emma Laura Sanham. Due to Luigi's profound love with a non-noble woman, his father, Marquis Scarella, stopped giving him a stipend, forcing Luigi's new family into America. Arriving in South Carolina in 1845, Luigi eventually made his way to Campbell County, Kentucky, where he found a new home near Cold Spring. It was here that he carved out a life for himself, embracing the opportunities that America offered. His artistic talents flourished in this new environment, earning him recognition and respect within the local community. Luigi has written many letters. This was one of the sweetest letters I found. 11 o'clock of the night, I would still love to remain with you in spirit, if the light would last and my legs were not so frozen, for in truth I do not even feel them anymore. It is snowing and the blizzard is so fierce. I am in a room with no fire and extremely exposed. Goodbye, my dear Emma. By the way, you will laugh at my attempt to write poetry, inspired, I think, by solitude and melancholy. But what do you want? I live for you and the children. All my thoughts are for you. You are my life, my heart, my soul. Finally, you are all to me in this world, and maybe more in the other world if there is immortality. Goodbye, good night. In this letter penned by Luigi to his beloved wife Emma, the depths of his love and longing are vividly expressed amidst the harshness of his circumstances. Despite the late hour and the biting cold that numbs his limbs, Luigi's heartfelt sentiments shine through as he expresses his desire to remain with Emma in spirit, even as he faces the unforgiving elements of the fierce blizzard. The raw emotion conveyed in his words reflects his profound devotion to Emma and their children, whom he holds dear above all else. Luigi's humility and selflessness are evident as he acknowledges his attempt at poetry, born out of solitude and melancholy. Ultimately, his declaration that Emma in his life, heart, and soul encapsulates the depths of his affection and commitment, transcending the physical distance between them. As he bids her farewell and wishes her good night, Luigi's enduring love serves as a beacon of hope and solace amidst the stormy night. The tragedy struck on August 6, 1866, when Luigi boarded the steamer Genealogical to sketch the vessel, only for the steamer to explode near Madison, Indiana, claiming his life along with many others. Despite his ultimately demise, his legacy endured through his descendants, who continued to uphold his values of resilience, determination, and service to others. Among Luigi's sons, Benjamin Franklin Graziani emerged as a notable figure in Covington, Kentucky. Born in Cold Spring in 1858, Benjamin displayed a keen intellect and passion for justice from a young age. After receiving his education in Covington, Benjamin pursued a career in law, eventually establishing himself as a prominent criminal attorney in the region. Throughout his life, Benjamin remained dedicated to serving his community. He became actively involved in local politics, serving on the Covington School Board and later in the legislature. Benjamin's unwavering commitment to justice and integrity earned him the respect and admiration of his peers. Find a Grave states that Benjamin Franklin was deeply involved in the Scott Street Methodist Episcopal Church in Covington, where he dedicated many years to serving his faith community. As a committed member, he actively participated in church activities, supporting its mission endeavors, and provided leadership within the congregation. His steadfast faith and commitment to spiritual growth were evident in his long-standing affiliation with the church. After Ben attended the law schools at Cincinnati, where he graduated May 28, 1884, he embarked on a prolific legal career that spanned over 4 decades, during which he made significant contributions to the legal profession in Covington and Cincinnati. Known for his expertise, integrity, and dedication to his clients, he earned a reputation as a formidable attorney who championed justice and fairness. In addition to his legal practice, Ben's commitment to public service was exemplified by his involvement in various civic roles. Serving as president of the Covington School Board in 1890 demonstrated his dedication to education and the well-being of the community's youth. His tenure as a member of the Kentucky legislature from Kentucky for 2 terms underscored his commitment to representing the interests of his constituents and enacting positive change at the state level. Furthermore, his 6-year tenure as Master Commissioner of Kenton County reflected his willingness to serve in administrative capacities, where his keen intellect and sense of fairness were invaluable assets. Despite only being 6 years old when his father passed away tragically, Benjamin grew up fascinated by the figure his father had been. Raised on stories of Luigi's resilience, artistic talent, and unwavering commitment to democratic ideals, Benjamin found himself drawn to unraveling the mysteries surrounding his father's life and legacy. As he matured, Benjamin's curiosity deepened, fueling a burning desire to understand the roots of his family's heritage and the circumstances that had shaped his father's journey from Italy to America. Determined to seek answers, Benjamin embarked on a transformative trip to Europe, retracing his father's steps and delving into the rich tapestry of his ancestral homeland. This voyage of discovery not only offered Benjamin invaluable insights into his father's past, but also provided him with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of his own identity and heritage. On July 13, 1906, Ben writes a letter to his wife. The castle is in ruins. They had an earthquake here in 1887 that destroyed it. Nothing but the old towers remain, and the fallen walls around it, with wild briar and tangled vines that have crept up and over the walls, give it a wild and ruined appearance. The name Vianney is spoken as of long forgotten person lost in the years of the past. All relatives are passed away. My heart has been made sad for my coming here. The lands have been taken possession of by a few small cottagers, and the old place looks as if it is a weird spectre of the days of long ago. About 3 miles from Oneglia is an old town of poor and wretched looking. This town lies in a valley between two mountains, and these mountains and valleys are covered with olive trees. The only income of the owners and of the town, this town is called Vianney. As Ben recounts the fate of Luigi's ancestral castle, he paints a picture of desolation wrought by the 1887 earthquake. The once majestic structure now lies in ruins, its towers standing as lonely sentinels amidst fallen walls overrun with wild briar and tangled vines. The mention of the name Vianney evokes a sense of a distant past, with all relatives having passed away, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in obscurity. Ben's heartache is palpable as he confronts the loss of his family's heritage and the transformation of the land into the domain of small cottagers. Yet amidst the ruins, the town of Vianney emerges as a symbol of resilience, nestled in a valley between mountains adorned with olive trees, providing sustenance to its inhabitants. Through Ben's poignant observations, we are reminded of the impermanence of life and the importance of cherishing the memories and legacies passed down through generations. As I reflect on the remarkable stories of Luigi Lorenzo Scarella and his son Benjamin Franklin Graziani, I am reminded of the profound impact that their lives have had on shaping not only my understanding of my family's history, but also my own sense of identity and purpose. The resilience, determination, and unwavering commitment to service exhibited by Luigi in the face of adversity serves as a source of inspiration, urging me to persevere in the face of challenges and to advocate for positive change in my own community. Similarly, Benjamin's dedication to justice, education, and civic engagement underscores the importance of using one's talents and resources to uplift others and leave a lasting legacy of integrity and compassion. These stories of struggle, triumph, and selflessness resonate deeply with me, reminding me of the values that have been passed down through generations and the responsibility I must honor and uphold them. As I continue to navigate life's journey, I carry with me the lessons learned from Luigi and Benjamin, drawing strength from their legacies and striving to live a life of purpose, service, and fulfillment.
You got something to say? Well, you got something to say.
Yeah, well, yeah, wasn't that great? I tell you, we learned so much with these essays, and there's Graziano's still here in Campbell County doing well. So, Clay, this is a certificate, a check, and a gift card. Thank you for your help.
Okay, so the title of my essay is A Journey to the American Dream. Campbell County has had many citizens who have made significant impacts on the community. Among these individuals, my dad stands out because of his economic and cultural impact on our community. My dad faced formidable challenges throughout his life to become the person he is today, someone who has also contributed to the profound economic success of our county. His story shows the effect that one individual can have on a community, serving as a role model for persistence and resilience, not only in life, but also in others. In 1987, my dad and his family lived in Azerbaijan when a territorial conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia resulted in a war. When perestroika began in the late 80s, people started to have some freedom and a type of democracy arrived. However, the conflict began. Armenians were no longer welcome in Azerbaijan, especially in the city of Baku, where my dad's family had lived for generations since the 1900s. Because he was young, this was a traumatic experience for him, especially having to witness his country and his people in danger. Because my dad and his family were ethnically Armenian, they were forced to flee their home, leaving everything they owned behind. Before the conflict began, my dad and his family of 4 lived in Baku in a 2-room apartment, not a 2-bedroom apartment, 2 rooms. Everyone in the family worked, including my dad. He was a student, but also worked in a shoe factory. In 1988, the hatred against Armenians led to violence. My dad and his family were afraid to go outside. It was not safe for Armenians to be in the streets. Their neighbors would bring them food and necessities. They left the house only to go to work and when it was absolutely necessary. They had to carry their passports at all times in case they were stopped by police or had to abruptly flee the country. My dad's family fled Baku 3 times, in 1988, 1989, and 1990, losing everything. In 1988, along the way to freedom, they even faced additional challenges, such as surviving the Spitak earthquake. When my dad described these events to me, it made me realize how bad it would be to live there. It seemed like everyone was always scared for their lives. Additionally, his mother, my grandmother, was a single mom with 3 kids and was working hard to keep them safe. The 3rd time they fled in 1990, but they were not able to return home. This was not their choice. Going back was too dangerous. They went to Moscow. When they heard that the American embassy was trying to help Armenian refugees, they decided to obtain the forms to apply for refugee status. They stood in line 30 days to get these forms in order to get an interview with the American government. The process to come to America was extremely difficult, and they had no help. To live in America, my dad and his family had to go through many steps. They completed their paperwork, passed the interview, and had a sponsor assigned. At the end of their long road to safety, their permission to immigrate to the United States was finally granted. In 1992, my dad moved to the U.S. with my grandma, aunt, and uncle. The move was challenging, especially with the language barrier. When they arrived in America, they did not speak a single word of English. In addition, they didn't have any money and didn't have a place to live, and didn't know anyone. For the first 2 months, their sponsor paid for everything, including their apartment, groceries, clothing, furniture, and other necessities. My dad and his family had to start all over again in a foreign place with no financial means to support themselves and not speaking the language. He began learning English almost instantly, a language that had a completely different alphabet and phonetic frequency than his native language. My dad and everyone in the family took English classes 4 hours every day. When his family was interviewed by Fort Thomas Living in July 1992, my dad and his family said that they were overwhelmed by 2 things after immigrating to the United States: the kindness of the American people and the grocery stores. I definitely appreciated this sentiment, as the American people have big hearts and are willing to help those in need, but I had to ask my dad about the grocery stores. I have never experienced hunger. We have always had enough food in my house. However, growing up in the former Soviet Union, my dad experienced hunger on numerous occasions. He shared many stories with me about when they did not have enough food because they didn't have enough money to buy it. After the Soviet Union collapsed, there was a shortage of food in stores. Store shelves were empty and people could not find simple necessities. At times, food was rationed and his family had to wait hours in line to buy it. In the interview, my grandma shared this information about her experience with grocery stores in the former Soviet Union. Quote, "There were no words to express a description of your grocery stores. It shocks. In Baku, there might be 5 to 6 items in the whole store. We women stood in line 4 or 5 hours for food. Then we might be able to buy 1 pound of meat, 8 ounces of butter, and cheese if available. No fast foods, no freezer foods." End quote. After learning about this, I understood why my dad and his family were overwhelmed by the grocery stores in the United States. This experience also made me realize how fortunate I am to always have food in my home. It opened my eyes to a reality I did not know existed and made me appreciate everything I have. My dad and his family liked everything in the U.S., but especially the complete kindness of people. It was very unexpected. They also liked the freedom, especially compared to the highly censored environment in the Soviet Union. The freedom was amazing, as in Azerbaijan, they could not even move to another city because their papers stated they lived in Baku. In the same interview, my dad was asked to what he was looking forward to in America. The 19-year-old, he replied, "To learn English quickly so I may speak to all, to work very hard and become rich so I can help others." My dad has always been a very hard worker. He was willing to take any job to support his family, including jobs requiring hard physical labor. My dad worked in construction until 1995, when his friends helped him apply to NKU. When my dad started taking college classes, he did not fully understand English yet. He was still learning the language. He struggled at first, but was able to improve his English enough to be able to understand most of the material in his classes. While pursuing his education, he worked in fast food in order to pay for school. My dad's relentless determination and strong work ethic helped him succeed in his pursuit of a bachelor's degree in computer science at NKU. In 2001, after my dad graduated from NKU, he began looking for a job. Because of the recession in the IT industry, he couldn't find anything. He started working with his brother in a Cold Spring office fixing television and electronics. He set up the internet for customers and took on any computer-related challenges. This experience led him to start his own business. His idea was to be an IT consultant because he had the work ethic and discipline to be successful as an entrepreneur. He also wanted to try different areas of IT to find what he loved the most. In addition, he was hoping he would have the flexibility as he wouldn't have a typical 8 to 5 business day. He was determined to be successful in his goals, but at the same time, he wanted to help people in his community and make a difference. He first registered his business and then put up advertisements. He rented an office and eventually he got his first customer. Starting his business was a big uncertainty because he didn't know if he would be successful. At the same time, he wasn't scared to try something new because he had nothing to lose. His business offered a variety of computer services, including installation and repairs of computers, laptops, surveillance systems, security systems, home theaters, big screen TVs, and networking. At first, he was only helping local clients, but then, as more people brought computers and started getting accustomed to technology, he had a boom in customers from Ohio and other parts of Kentucky. One of his biggest clients is the city of Highland Heights. In the city, my dad has built IT infrastructure for the city administration, police department, and public works building. As his business grew, he felt that it was important to give back to his community. He participated in multiple charity efforts by donating money to the church that helped him come to the United States. He also offered customers free equipment recycling services. He took old technology parts and recycled them. Not only has he helped the community financially, but he has also put in time and effort to help when it is needed. He has helped all over the county at athletic events like swim and gymnastics meets, school functions, and at city events in Highland Heights. My dad and his business were recognized when he received the Outstanding Young Alumnus Award at the NKU Alumni Awards Banquet on January 26, 2007. Because of his hard work, persistence, and courage, he is able to pursue a career that he is passionate about and give back to his community. In addition to the impact he has had on the county, my dad has been the most influential person in my life. I've always looked up to my dad. Although the obstacles he experienced were traumatic, what I learned from him compelled me to explore my heritage and begin my journey of self-discovery. The violence he endured opened my eyes to a world that I am thankful I never had to experience, and taught me how to be appreciative of the life I am able to live in America. His journey not only taught me bravery, resilience, and perseverance, but also compassion, empathy, and kindness. My dad's journey to success was very difficult, but his hard work and perseverance are the reason I had a safe and secure upbringing. Although these events were traumatizing, my dad emerged with bravery, humility, and persistence. His problem-solving skills, quick thinking, and resourcefulness honed through difficult experiences are invaluable. His story and life experiences have contributed to our community economically and culturally. My dad has been a significant figure in the history of our county. By sharing his passion and maintaining persistence, he has not only contributed to the growing success of our town, but also has contributed to the lives of others. Thank you.
This is Dad.
No, that's my grandpa.
That's Grandpa, okay. Congratulations, Grandpa. And Grandma here too? Okay.
Okay. Certificate. A certificate, check, and a gift card, and a wonderful essay. It warms your heart. You know how much we're surrounded by good people in this area, this county? Great. And I'm glad that you recognize the hard work that your parents and grandparents put into just getting you where you are. So keep it up. Okay? Yes. Good luck to you. Wow.
Not done yet.
Isn't it great? Yeah.
That's a couple of pretty impressive immigrant stories that we've heard. And I think I hope it makes everybody kind of proud of being from this country and this community, because you heard what these young people said. Their parents, their ancestors wanted so bad to be here. It was that important to them, and they succeeded when they got here. They worked hard, they did all the right things, and they were successful. It's just great stories. All of these essays tonight were absolutely fantastic. That's it for all of our essays tonight. Next month's meeting will be here again, and we have Dr. John Wyrick coming to talk to us. There's a house in Dayton, way up on the hill there, and everybody wonders what's going on because he's had scaffolding up around it in a while. Well, it was built by a Dr. James Taylor, not part of the James Taylor family from Newport, who created the first dental college in the area way back in the 1800s. The man was also a heavy abolitionist, so there's rumors that the house was used for the Underground Railroad. The owner doesn't think so, but there's still a lot of rumors about that. So that should be a very interesting talk. In November, we have Mr. Tom Pendry coming to talk to us about one of his relatives, which is Ralph Stolley. And many of you may not know, Ralph Stolley made his fortune in the aluminum business at a time when aluminum siding was coming along and aluminum windows and aluminum everything. And Ralph Stolley created a process to make the pop top, which is everywhere these days. And he made a fortune doing it, and he gave a whole bunch of it away. But the guy's a fascinating character. I've read the book on him. Just an incredible character. So that should be a good story as well. And then in December, we're back here for our holiday social. So, anybody else have anything else for tonight? then we are all finished. I thank you all so very, very much for being here and for supporting these young people, okay? And if I can get all the essay winners up front here, we'll get some pictures.